Welcome to Lecture Online, and here's another technique of how to multiply two two-digit numbers. Traditionally, just like we saw in the previous example, what we could do is we could just separate this. We can change this into taking 30 times 40, and then 30 times 2. We can take 40 times 7, and finally 7 times 2. Basically, that's what multiplication is. You take each number here, multiply times every other number. So 40 times 30, 40 times 7, 30 times 2, and 2 times 7. So when we add that together, we get 1200. Here we get 60. 7 times 4 is 28. Add a 0, it gives you 280. And 7 times 2, which is 14. And then you add it all together. So here you get 4. 6 plus 8 is 14, plus 1 is 15. You write down the 5, remember 1. 1 plus 2 is 3, plus 1 is 4. So that would be 454. Could you do that in your head? With a lot of practice, you can. Matter of fact, it's a lot easier once you start memorizing these things in your head. But first, let's just write it down like this and get the methodology down so that later on you can practice trying to memorize that. And start with smaller numbers and work your way up to bigger numbers. Another technique that you can use is, for example, when one of the numbers is very close to the next 10, for example, 39 is very close to 40, you can write this as 40 times 21 minus 1 times 21, because 40 minus 1 is 39. 40 times 21 is relatively easy because that becomes 20 times 40, which is 800, and 1 times 40, which is 40, which gives you 840. If you then subtract from that 21 times 1, which is 21. 840 minus 21 is the same as 840 minus 20, which is 820. And now subtract 1, which is 819. 819. Again, what I just did was the following. 840 minus 21 is the same as 840 minus 20. I subtract 20 first, and then I subtract another 1. This gives me 820 minus 1, which is 819. See how easy it becomes doing math in your head when you start using these little tricks like that. So ultimately, 39 times 21 is 819. Another quick check to make sure that it's probably correct is to multiply the last two numbers. 1 times 9 means that the number should end up in a 9, which it did. So it's probably correct. Okay, let's try 78 times 32. That is almost the same as 80 times 32 minus 2 times 32. Now 80 times 32, what I can do is I can do 30 times 80. That would be 3 times 8 is 24, and add the two zeros gives you 2400. Then you go 2 times 80. Well, 2 times 80 is 16. Add a 0 is 160. So together, 32 times 80 gives you 2560. But the problem wasn't 32 times 80, it was 32 times 78, so we have to subtract 2 times 32. Well, 2 times 32 is 64, so I subtract 64 from that, which is the same as saying 2,560 minus 60 minus 4. When I subtract 60 from that, I get 2,500 minus 4, and subtract 4 from that, I get 2,496, which is the correct result. Playing with numbers like that and doing multiplication like that rather than using a calculator or using the traditional technique where you multiply each number together really helps you memorize numbers and really helps you understand how to do multiplication. Typically, again, when you have a number that's close to the next tens, like 39 is very close to 40 and 78 is very close to 80, it might be a lot easier to do it like that. Or if you can simply break it out like this, 37 times 42, first you do 30 times 40, then you do 30 times 2, then you do 40 times 7, then you do 2 times 7 or 7 times 2, doesn't matter. Add them all together and you get the result. A quick check again, 2 times 7 is 14, which ends in a 4, which means your end result should end in a 4 as well. Just another quick check to make sure you're at least most likely on the right track. And that's how we multiply two-digit numbers.